Ethos of Silence.
A veteran podcast aims to amplify the voices of veterans, creating a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster community support, resilience, and understanding. Through storytelling, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys.
Welcome. That sounds like a great topic. So Ethos of Silence is back. We got the same old people that we've been here with.
What's up? Kevin here, U.S. Army. Cool.
Yeah. Tim hosting. We got Kevin and we got Robert. So let's get into that. Why is it important for veterans to belong to an organization, right? A veteran organization, anything along those lines, just an organization. What kind of, I mean, you recruited me, Robert. What kind of things bring you that type of value to be associated with a veteran organization?
I think, and the reason I'm involved, and I believe you guys as well, is we still continue our service to our community, our country. And I know, we belong to several veterans organizations.
Of course.
We volunteer a lot to help other veterans and help within our community. So I think that's one part of it. And the other part of it's to continue to ensure that the entitlements that are owed to veterans remain there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's probably one of the most important parts. I think the one thing we're trying to do with this podcast, and the other thing that it definitely gives, is it builds that community, that camaraderie that we're missing, and all the other different things that I think fundamentally fix the problems that we have going on. Iron sharpens iron is one of the things that's, it's a meme on the wall in the Marine Corps that just shows you that you going one-on-one with somebody who's better than you, somebody that's bigger than you, somebody that's stronger than you, somebody that's faster than you, makes you better, makes you more of an athlete. And it doesn't matter. There's always a Marine out there who has some aspect that you want to chase and become better. And that's all part of the iron sharpening iron aspect that I miss about the military, but I get from these veteran organizations of finding different people who push me to do things that I've never done, or push me to dig deeper in myself and develop skills that, I guess I've kind of been developing my entire life, but that I never thought I'd push forward. This podcast is a great example of that. I didn't know how I was going to move forward and address scenarios in my life that I wanted to address, but the organization and the resources that have now become available to me made me think that this is the direction to go in to make that change possible and make that change happen.
Yeah, I agree. And then the other things is meeting the different people and sitting down, like you was talking about, and talking about. That's how this podcast come about. It was talking about how can we reach out and help other veterans.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are, reaching out and helping other veterans.
But there's a lot that the veteran service groups can do and are doing, is one, letting the community know the value of the veterans that they have in their community. Look at the number of police officers and firefighters and medical people who are veterans that work and interact with our community on a daily basis they can continue to serve to protect. And that's what they do. And then other veterans that work in industry and other things bring different skill sets to that those organizations, and it helps them grow. I mean, they just don't stop when their time in service is up. A lot of them actually go out and try to find things to do that benefits the community.
And that's the amazing part. I mean, the more things we can do to find that actually benefit the community on a grassroots ground level, to where we change the mindset and we help people understand the patriotism of a country. And every now and again, whenever you're not feeling it, when you think that maybe everything's going in the wrong direction, and then you see something that's happening with the youth, and you realize that there's a lot of possibility, there's a lot of hope here.
Exactly. And it takes the community to understand the veteran, and the veteran to understand where they can help within that community. And that's where we grow. And then the big thing about the veterans organizations, which I truly like, is helping other veterans, seeing the need and stepping out there to help. And and a lot of people, and it's with anybody that volunteers, they sacrifice their personal time to assist others, which you really don't think about a lot of times. It also benefits the person that's volunteering. It also helps give them the strength as they're providing the strength to others. And that goes back to iron sharpening iron, because we are working with others to strengthen our lives.
You're talking about iron sharpening iron, but I'm hearing something that tells me about filling a void in myself that comes from the fact of I went from operating at a high level as a Marine, being Superman, where I don't even have any kryptonite that's going to slow me down, and then coming back to a world where now I am trying to help and provide for my family and all these other different things, but I'm struggling myself and trying to figure out, how do I get that purpose, that value added back to my life? And being involved with veteran organizations, I mean, I wish I'd have found them sooner, because they provide a level of value and a level of camaraderie to where all of a sudden I'm sucked back in. Nowhere near the level of training a pilot to be able to go into combat and making sure that aircrafts are good, and training young individuals on how to be mentally strong, spiritually aware, and physically ready to go into combat zones and do whatever has to be done. But to a level to where internally and mentally I can accept the fact that I am here and I'm not there.
No. I think, each individual has a certain path they got to take.
Okay.
And how they find themselves on that path is by who they cross that path with. Like, we didn't know each other.
No.
And then, and with it, I might have known Kevin a little more than a year, maybe.
It feels like a long time.
No, I mean, we just met each other in what, April, March?
Yeah. March.
Yeah, and we're family now.
But yeah, just look at how we've improved each other's lives.
Yeah.
I mean, just something simple as that is saying, hey man, you interested in a VFW? This is what they do.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron, just making me stronger, giving me the opportunity and all of the things in front of me to better myself, better my community, better the veterans around me, to give them the opportunities, make them aware of the resources that exist.
Yeah, maybe we're what's the word I'm trying to use? I forget what they did in the military, but kind of like an energy junkie. This is like our booster shot. We're jumping out there, like you said earlier. I'm trying to find something to fill that intensity I had on active duty. You know,
it's definitely not feeling that. The void that it fills is not a adrenaline rush void. The void it fills is so. Whenever you train somebody, when you take somebody under your wing, whenever you're preparing pilots for combat, preparing men for combat, you feel like you have a purpose in life, right? I'm not saying that my kids aren't a purpose. I'm not saying that my wife's not a purpose. I'm not saying all these other different things, but I had all these things when I was in the military, right? And I get out, and now that other void that I have is that other purpose that was being filled, and it's not there. And I've been striving to try and find something to fill that void, fill that void in me that says that I have such value that I can give back to my country, right? Because the whole thing with serving the military, you're passionate about serving your country, right? My Marine Corps, I'm a Marine, it's my Marine Corps, right? So I'm passionate about serving that. And then whenever it comes now to being able to continue to serve veterans in my community and everything else, filling that void helps. I mean, there's church organizations, there's a bunch of different things you can do, right? But it's different whenever you're sitting in a room with people who've ate the same sand that you've eaten years apart, but we've all eaten the same sand. We all have the same base set of values for the fact that we know what being treated correctly is like, and we want to get to that point. We know veterans that have suffered, and we don't want to see any more veterans suffer. And the fact of being here together and letting the iron sharpen the iron for us to build a community around to better our scenarios and better our purpose and move forward is the ideal way to just create something. And I am blessed to have the opportunity and blessed to find these people. And I hope we continue to find people along our path that help us grow this exponentially, because every time I turn around, I get a laundry list of people, and I'm like, I don't even have the resources in place yet to deal with half this stuff, you know?
Yeah. I'm with you. I don't think we'll ever fill that void completely. I think there's two types of voids, though. I think you're right with the internal action part of the void. But I also think it is when you're in the military, and I guess, and then it depends on what you were doing and stuff. You were obviously in a technical job that one little thing could go wrong, you lose a pilot and mega money. But
very important.
But
tense job.
But it's the mental part of it too, you know, because you're used to multitasking, detail oriented, and everything's lined up. I got to do, you know, I'm doing this and that, and you get out here, it's not done that way.
Yeah.
And trying to feel something that you developed a skill in, and then you're trying to match it out here.
Well, I can say that for every college student who goes to college for a bunch of different stuff and then has to come out and get a job that has nothing to do with what they went and got a degree for, because where they want to live, that opportunity doesn't exist.
But there's a difference, though. Well, slight. I mean, there's a little more than a slight difference. All the skills and the things that we developed our minds for was to be proficient and to put others, develop others to go into harm's way and do a job.
And be just as proficient.
And you knowing that I asked a person to put their life in danger. And that has a high level of stress that you go through that you'll never see in your civilian side.
And I agree with you with the word proficient.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. But we need to replace it and with almost perfection. You have to train somebody to be perfect in executing those scenarios so that they come back and they're able to have everybody around them I mean, proficient is definitely explains it to a T as you were explaining it, but it doesn't even come close to how perfect you actually have to be while you're doing these things to make sure that everything goes according to plan, right?
That's true.
Because if that aircraft's not up in the air to provide the air support or to provide the security or provide the jamming for IEDs and different stuff going on in a convoy that took off on time, or if, you know, Derek didn't get the Humvee fixed in time, so the aircraft's in the air, but it's burning fuel and the Humvee's not there. You know, like everybody executing perfectly together and communicating the fact of even the smallest hiccup makes the biggest difference in the world.
And that's where our situation, our frustration comes in when we go and transition back into the civilian world, because we're so used to that. And in the civilian world, unless it's, you know, you're doing a life-threatening job, you don't have to worry about that. And then when you see, why ain't they worried about this in your job, you're like, I don't get it. They're not synced or whatever.
I'll never buy into why people have no sense of urgency in the stuff that they do. The lack of urgency. And sometimes I wish I could just breathe and relax and sit back and enjoy life.
Yeah. Number one pet peeve of mine is going in a grocery store and people standing in the middle of the aisle talking and blocking the whole aisle. I'm like, the consideration for others.
Right.
And I learned consideration for others, you know, in the military. Because you had to think about who was to your left and right. Like you said, you got to train them to being as perfect as you can possibly get. And then you come out and just little things like that is like, what the hell? You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna call my recruiter tomorrow and join back up.
Oh.
Come on, man. You all right?
I gotta get back in. It only makes sense in there. Don't make sense out here.
Well, you're in the army of God, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me on that one.
I still understand that whole Army of One thing. I don't think you ever teach me. It's just a recruiting tool, huh?
I didn't understand. And that's the worst slogan possible. But hey, they only got rid of the number 2 slogan of all times. Be all you can be.
Be all you can be in American's Army.
The first sergeant sitting there, they just get done with the jumping exercise, and the guy offers the first sergeant a cup of coffee. Remember that commercial?
I think so. God, you're taking my mind way back.
So,
I've slept a bunch since.
So with both those scenarios, right? Both those voids trying to fill with iron sharpening iron, right? I don't think veteran organizations can fill those voids.
I don't either. But I think there's groups out there that are trying.
Okay.
And I mean, just like us. You know, we're in one service group, doesn't fill all our needs. We're in another service group, which they do quite a bit, but we still have some voids. So I agree. I don't think that can be found. We just have to, you know what, my injuries, and I love to run. I used, 7, 10, 14 miles a day.
Okay.
I love to run. Kept the weight off. Of course, after I got out, couldn't run no more at 50. Oh, of course, after I got out, I gained weight because I couldn't run because of my injuries.
Okay.
So now I forgot where I was going with this, but problem.
Iron sharpens iron, trying to fill the voids, right? So we're trying to fill both those voids. And you said we really can't with these organizations. So we can do multiple organizations.
Right. So what we have to do, because like what I was told, I have to retrain myself to do something else. It won't be equal to what I was doing, but I have to retrain myself and think of the other ways that I can do to enjoy what I was doing.
Okay.
I enjoyed running. Can't run no more. I'm not able to do that. So, okay, what else can I do in my life to help, sort of like a reset. I'm not at this premium level anymore, no matter how much my mind tells me that I am. So I have to reset at the mid level because that's my capabilities because of my injuries.
Okay.
So I got to think that way. So I think those voids, we have to say, okay, I know I'm not going to be at this peak level like that. So what can I do and still fulfill my needs, you know? If that made sense.
It does. It does. So I mean, you're basically telling me that there's things in this world that you'd like to do because they brought you comfort, because they were just part of who you were. They're part of your identity. And do you feel like those have been taken away? And a lot of them have been taken away physically. And what you'd like to do is try and figure out what fills that void, what coping mechanism you need to do to be able to fill that need in your life.
Yeah. But to get to that is our challenge.
That's a challenge every day. I mean, that's a challenge for everybody. I mean, that I think military brings the aspect of the challenge being on a harder level because we go from such an extreme of just operating at a high level or operating in an area where you can feel the fact of impact going to the other. But I mean, even civilians have a problem with operating on these levels or with just coping with scenarios and stuff like that. I mean, just because I was in the military and I missed my son's birth or missed the daughter's birthday or son's birthday or something like that doesn't mean that there's not a trucker going across the country and he dropped the load on the other side of the country and did the same exact thing, you know.
Exactly.
And his hardship is just as hard as my hardship of going through that exact scenario because both of us couldn't be somewhere where we wanted to be because of other obligations.
Exactly. Different, you know. Being on the road all the time, you know, there's certain dangers to that, just as we had certain dangers when we deployed.
Right.
Maybe not at the same level, but, you know, you have that on your mind all the time too.
Yeah.
Plus the safety of your family away. I mean, there's a lot of stressors.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, you know, why some of us need more talking to.
No, you don't wonder. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, you just things that could be easy is no longer easy. I mean, how you deal with things is different than how you dealt with them before you went in the military. How you communicate with people. Hell, Kevin all the time tells me I'm not in the Army anymore. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just know a certain way of communicating certain things.
That's been effective in your life for the last 40 years of being in the Army, so why would it no longer be effective now, especially to a fellow veteran?
Yeah, I mean, he puts me in line sometimes on
And
that,
it's a good thing. We need to have people around us who provide that support system to help us keep in line. And I think that's what veteran organizations do.
Yeah.
They provide us with a network of people and a community of people. And I hope to build a community of people off of this that is just another tool to help cope and deal with things. And hopefully we can figure out how to heal some of these wounds and some of these voids and fill them to where, you know, we're now productive members of society.
We can figure it out. I mean, even if someone doesn't feel like they have the greatest contribution to be had, that doesn't really matter. I mean, we can all put up with one another, you know, and we can just figure it out in time.
It doesn't matter how much you agree or disagree. It's the respect of each other, respecting their viewpoint.
That's right.
You might not agree with it all the time, but you do respect it.
Still have.
No, I definitely respect where everybody's views come from. I am open-minded to hear and acknowledge your views and say that, okay, I see where you're coming from. I may not agree with it, but I mean, for the most part, I still agree with the majority of what everybody in this room says and thinks. I mean, there's nothing that I don't really agree with or see too far different from with either one of you. I mean, we're on the same page, and I believe we're trying to take everything in the same direction.
And I think
Great connection.
I think we might say it differently, but I think we see where it's coming from, what it's about.
Heck, anyone that's on any level should just show up.
Yeah.
Just being a part of it is a basic start. You know, you can eventually see what the value is to that person, but just showing up and being there, just be there.
And that's why iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
Jump in a veteran organization, and hopefully they can help you. And I tell you what, just because you find one post or one whatever all the other things call themselves, just because you find one group, maybe that organization is the right organization, just that group of people you need to go a city over or whatever to find some people who you can relate with and bond with, and that's the difference.
It's exactly right. We did that last night.
Yeah.
We
sure did.
A whole different spirit of a group of people compared to what we were used to.
And I mean, just like I said, broken is an opportunity to heal, but some people don't want to heal. Some scars people want to hold on to. Some things people want to hold on to. Some traditions at some posts are just so baked into the cake that it's not going to work. It's not the place for you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just showing up. Like you said, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. It may be another post. You may not solve your problems on the first day. It's something. Just bring it anyways. Bring whatever you got. Be present. The rest will figure its way out around good veterans.
Thanks for listening. Iron sharpens iron.
We now have a moment of silent prayer for those still in the battle, for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and for those held as prisoners of war.